Welcome to Surviving the Dream with your hosts, Casey Arnold
and David Conley.
We're here to talk to people who seem to have their dream job and find out, what did it take? Is it what they imagined? Is it worth it? How do they do it?
Join us as we uncover the secrets of surviving the dream.
Hey, Dave.
Casey, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing this week?
I'm all right. I've had an interesting week. Just had an interesting afternoon because the podcast was slightly delayed. So I took advantage of that time.
Yes.
And I went and had a ring dinger. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I don't know. I don't know if you and I think a ring dinger is the same thing.
I think everybody should do it once.
Sounds kind of dirty. Can you specify what you mean by ring dinger?
Well, my friend, who was a former comedian, retired from comedy, is a chiropractor now. Just the same thing. Just cracks
an odd
people
jump.
Well, he was a cop, then he was a comedian, and now he's a chiropractor.
So only things that start with the letter C.
I think that's the deal. I think that's the only jobs that he'll do. I don't know what he's going to do next.
He'll run a crematorium. I don't know what people are called who do that.
Yeah. Well, the way that ring dinger went, I thought that's the way I was going to go.
So what happens in a ring dinger?
Well, he literally straps you. He's a chiropractor who literally straps you onto the bench, and then he pulls your neck, and you just feel like, I thought my head was going to come off. But apparently it's really good for you.
Sounds like a medieval torture device, but I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
I didn't say I enjoyed myself. I just said I did it. God, it was mad. It was mad. But that's my way of surviving the dream this week. Have you been surviving? You got to
keep trying that stuff.
Anything.
I'm surviving. I too took advantage of our time delay and ran out to do a quick errand. But because we live in LA, most of it consisted of driving around a parking lot, looking for a parking space, repeatedly screaming to myself in the car.
Yeah.
Then I did the quick errand.
Yeah.
You get an hour free parking. I was over 3 minutes because it took so long to find parking, and they charged me $4.
Oh, no.
Which I know it's only $4, but like the principle of it, I would have rather found a homeless person and been like, here, have a meal, or literally anything other than
I'd rather have been
parking.
A homeless person than look for parking that's a problem with Los Angeles, isn't it?
Or unhoused person. It was dumb and frustrating, and it reminded me why I sit at home and stare at my computer all the time. But our guest does not do that.
Oh,
our guest is the very opposite of that. She's a pilot I'm just segueing right in. She's a pilot for a major U.S. airline who's flown all over the world in a bunch of super cool jets. And she is getting a personal coaching certification so that she can help other people through their journey, which seems fitting in a high stress industry. Pretty much, she's just an all-around badass who does stuff that most of us are afraid to do. Today's guest, Erika Hiddinga. Hey. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you here.
I'm so excited to talk to a real-life pilot. And I'll tell you what, because when I was 13 years old, I got a letter from school saying David could never be a pilot.
What? Why?
Imagine doing that. At that point, I didn't want to be a pilot, but I failed the colorblind test. So they send you, I don't know if it's an English thing, but they sent a letter home to my parents saying, whatever David does with his life, he can never be a pilot.
That's so harsh. Just kill the dream. Kill it.
Yeah, that's
it.
Killing the dream from the beginning. So, Erika, does that mean that you're not colorblind?
Fact. Yes, this is true. Is an issue.
A legitimate requirement? I mean, how much color? The sky is either light or dark.
It's all those. They've got lots of buttons to press.
Oh, right.
You don't know anything about being a pilot.
No, Erika, I really don't.
Talk about
and you're welcome that I'm not the one up in the air.
So many buttons to press, and they could be red and green, and you might know which is the wrong one, and then the wing falls off.
Yep, right? It's true. And maps and all the things, screens.
Yeah.
Okay, fair point. I stand corrected.
Have I just described piloting perfectly to you, Erika?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Pushing lots of buttons and things. So wait, so you clearly didn't get a letter like that as a child.
What do that in the US?
What letters did you get when you were 13 years old, Erika?
You can do anything.
Right? Anything you want. Literally nothing. Maybe pen pal letters.
Oh, well,
So what made you want to become a pilot? Because I feel like that's a unique dream, especially for a young girl. That's not me being sexist. I'm just acknowledging reality.
no, I think you should be a female because less females are colorblind. It makes sense.
That is true.
It makes
Is
sense.
that also true?
Yes.
It's actually true. Yes.
I'm learning a lot already.
You are. Yeah. I was 12 years old when I went on my first commercial flight, and I will never forget takeoff. Just the takeoff alone. I was like laughing hysterically. And I thought it was the most miraculous thing in the world, going that fast. And like all of a sudden we were in the air and I was just glued to the window. Like, this is the best thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I didn't know girls could be pilots, actually. So on my second flight, the pilot actually came out of the cockpit and it was a woman. And I was like,
That's amazing.
mind blown. Yeah. And literally that moment changed my whole life of like, holy crap, I can actually do this.
I love that.
Yeah.
Have you run into her since you've been a pilot?
No, I haven't, but she probably is actually easy to track down. So I should probably get
After
on
this
that.
The
podcast,
writer in
let's
me
get
just really
online.
likes
Yeah.
that full circle story of you being
Right?
able to, go up to her and tell her that. So what is like required to become a pilot, since I'm clearly the idiot on this conversation?
There's a lot of things like medical. We have to do medical tests every year. And once you get over 40, it's every 6 months, which is crazy. Yeah, we even have to do an EKG every year, starting at 40. I know, crazy. You have to like absolutely know. There's so many medical issues that you cannot have.
What can't you have? This is interesting.
You can't have diabetes. You can get like special approval. You can't have diabetes. You can't have sleep apnea. You can't
Oh,
have.
that's a good one. I like.
You can't have any kind of like mental health, like depression, anxiety. None of that.
Yeah, you don't really want someone who's not feeling it up there, do you?
But wait, is it possible to like never have depression or anxiety ever?
I think that's why there's some self-medicating happening, aka the booze.
Oh, really? Oh, so you can be a drunk pilot as long as you're not a sad pilot.
There you go. We're not drinking while we're flying, but there's rules there too.
Oh, what are the rules on drinking?
We, at my company, we're not allowed to drink 12 hours before flying. Like, you're totally done. So, but the federal regulations is 8 hours before.
Do
We
they
call
test?
that bottle to throttle.
Bottle to throttle. That's
Yes,
a
I
brilliant
like
phrase.
these terms.
Wow.
We can get randomly tested anytime. So, yeah, we're pretty careful about that.
So is it like living up to what 12-year-old Erika wanted it to be?
It is honestly so much better. It really, really is. It's like it is the best thing ever. I love it. I remember like internet was pretty new when I was in high school and I would like Google it. Like, how much do pilots make for money? We make way more than it said. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Good job.
Right. Travel is so much better. Everything is so awesome. It's so much fun. I just love it. It's like pure freedom. So
That is the best.
Come on, talk us through it, right? When you're taking off, what do you still get adrenaline or
I
nerves?
totally do. Yeah. I make a point actually to just enjoy it. And I get a big old smile on my face every time. Last night we flew an empty jet from Newark to Dulles. So it wasn't very far. So we didn't have that much gas, no passengers. So it was super light. And it was so fast. And I was just up there like, ha ha ha. This is the best. It's so
Adrenaline
magical.
junkie.
How fast are you going up there?
Oh my gosh. If we're heavy, we'll go over 200 miles an hour just on takeoff.
So when there's no one else in there, are you guys like, let's push it. Let's see how far we can go?
No.
Off the record.
How fast could you go, Erika, do you think? What does it say on that dial? Go on that dialometer, what does it say you could go? There must
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It must be a peak that you go.
It's in knots. So it'll show like 450 knots, which is around 600 miles an hour.
Whoa.
That won't happen on the
100
ground.
miles an hour.
Yeah, that won't happen on the ground, but in the air, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay, so wait, when you're traveling somewhere and you're not the pilot, is there like your version of being like a backseat driver? Are you like, oh, you're not leveling out right, or you should be banking left, or
Sometimes I'll definitely be like, what are you doing right now? Get it on the ground. Ugh.
And is it the same pilot you're driving with every time? I don't know. I don't know
No.
the right word. No.
It's different. Like, it can be different every single flight. It's crazy.
do you feel like it influences what your flight is like depending who your co-pilot is?
Yeah, definitely. Like the safety of the flight is always the same. We do exactly the same thing every single flight. And like each of us have our own jobs and we do the same thing. So like safety wise, you know what to expect from the other person. But the personality wise, that's definitely interesting.
What's the most difficult personality you've had to navigate, or personality type?
This is a great question. I would say like the super, super analytical types who really like overthink things and like struggle to make decisions, or if they just want to chit chat for hours and hours and hours.
Oh yeah, because you guys are just locked in there. You could be like their forced therapist.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's like 7 hours of small talk, which is just a lot. It's a lot of small talk. So what's your skill for getting around that? That feels like a usable life skill for anyone listening. Right? It's so true. Stare out the window.
Change the subject. Yeah. Do you feel like the personal development stuff that you've been doing has helped you like steer those conversations to a more interesting, palatable place?
In some ways. I mean, people don't generally want to talk about, their deepest, darkest secrets to a stranger, but occasionally they do, which that leads to very fun
conversations.
Comedians, see, that is a thing I will say with like comedians, we have our issues, but like for the most part, pretty much anything is fair game, right? Like you're never trying to pull a conversation out of a fellow comic. Dave, would you say that's true?
I don't know. I'm often saying one of the most depressing places in Los Angeles can be backstage at the Comedy Store, where everyone is just like so quiet. And then they go out there and go, oh, yeah, I was doing this. And they go, you can't talk backstage. And you get out there, yeah, I was fucking this girl last night. No, you weren't. You just told me that you can't get laid for then why do you say that? I just think it's very odd. I think it's not dichotomy because most comedians are kind of introvert extroverts, aren't they? Like they're great when they're on stage, but when they're not on stage, you go, oh, this is depressing.
I don't. Yes and no. I would say. I don't know. I feel like talking to civilians, I'm also friends with Erika. That's how we were lucky enough to get her. But like one of the things I like is that we can talk about real stuff. I find a lot of the time with civilians, you get a lot of like, small talk or like boring yes, no answers. And you're like, well, this is so stimulating. Let's just keep this party going, but whereas comedians might like overshare. You're like, wow, I just met you and you're telling me how your uncle molested you when you were 7? Okay, let's go there.
Oh, do normal people not do that?
Talk about it. Let's do it.
Doesn't your co-pilot do that? Why not?
Like, what's your mother's maiden name? Like, oh, God.
They're just trying to steal your identity. That's what's really happening.
So, do you have any pets?
So, I want to. So, in between flying, are you thinking about it? Are you thinking, "Oh, I've got to fly tomorrow"?
No, not usually. I mean, sometimes I'll think I need to pack a bag, but no. Like I leave work and it is gone. It's done.
So how? But this must be quite. I mean, I presume it's quite a strange existence, isn't it? Like you've got to like your. I mean, do you do long haul like Europe and?
No, sometimes. I used to do all long haul. That's like all I did, which that is a strange existence. Yes.
Yeah. Because like, how does your body know what time zone it's on? Do you have any tricks for like
crazy
jet lag?
It's super nuts. So my last job, I was doing all international cargo. And within about 5 days of just like rapidly changing time zones, your circadian rhythm literally breaks. Fun fact. And your body does not know what time it is at all. And it doesn't care. It's just tired.
Oh, no. What do you do?
Sleep anytime. So I'm
but
like.
Not when you've got that thing in your hands, right? Looking at all those buttons.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Gosh.
We love coffee. Caffeine, important. But for sleeping, oh my gosh, I'm super clean about sleep hygiene. Got to be cold, dark. I wear like an eye mask, earplugs, noisemaker, all the things, and like nightly routine, super important. So even if I'm doing that at 10 o'clock in the morning, I can still bring myself like into tiredness.
That's impressive. Routine is important.
How do you keep your like? I mean, I don't know if you're. I mean, do you have a relationship or friendships? How do you keep those going when you're like living this strange existence of your own time zone and not knowing where you are day by day. How does that work?
It's rough. It really is. I'm not going to lie. That part is probably one of the most challenging parts of this career field, is just trying to maintain relationships. So I can't have like needy people in my life. If somebody's like constantly needing attention from me, that's just not going to work, because I can't respond to text messages all the time and I can't get together all the time. So just having like more relaxed.
So you never text and fly? Not even at traffic lights?
We're not supposed to. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, but I hear, it's funny because even when we were trying to schedule this, right, we had to keep rescheduling, and then your flight got delayed and you're like, I don't know when we're leaving. And I was like, never once, so sorry, have I ever thought when my own flight has been delayed, oh, I wonder how this is messing up the pilot's life and what they're trying to schedule. Never once, but doing it with you, I was like, oh, that's right. Like you're not planning on all that added time either. Yep. So yeah, if you don't have people who can like go with the flow or be understanding, I would imagine that would be frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people in the industry end up dating or married to other people in the industry because we actually understand how the lifestyle is, because it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's a funky deal.
So it's just like performers. Oh,
it is. It is exactly a lot like, but it's true. Entertainment, you might be like, hey, I'm on this project for the next 3 months. I probably can't hang out as much. I won't be super reliable. Like, if you really need me, let me know and I can be there, but I'm kind of be living in this other make-believe land until this thing is done. Right. Or if you're like, oh, I'm editing for 12 hours. And, like I remember dating someone once who was like, but what are you really doing in that dark room with that man? I'm like, no, I'm really just staring at the same footage over and over again. It could not be less sexy. But you need people that understand.
But I presume you must go to exotic places as well, right? Isn't that part of the fun?
Yeah, that is part of the deal. Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
What are the travel perks that come with piloting?
Oh, we get to fly for free on pretty much every airline in the world. So,
wow.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be just your own airline.
We all have agreements with each other.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
That's like comedians. We all get into each other's clubs to see shows for free. It's exactly the same.
Hey, I'm funny.
Yeah.
Come in.
But is it strange? Because I often find, and this is why I'm going with this, like when I was on tour as a comedian, I'd sometimes go to really cool places, but ultimately I'll go, I'm on my own. It's like,
what you mean, like, is it lonely?
Yeah, is it lonely? Like I look out and go, oh, that's one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. On my own. All right, they're going to do a show.
Yep.
Yeah. That's because you've been married for 20 years, though, also, and you've had the luxury of getting to share so many things. Well, no, I say as a lonely person in her day-to-day life.
But when you're on tour, you're on your own, right? You just are. You just like, so you drive 250 miles, you get somewhere and you go, oh, this is absolutely stunning. Right. I get on with the show, and then I go then I get in the car and go to the next one. What's it like as a pilot? Like, say you, there must be places you go to. Do you ever get somewhere and go,
Hawaii?
Oh.
Yeah, I go to Hawaii a lot. Yeah, see, the thing is, so like the flight crew, like captain and first officer, I'm a first officer, we stay together for the most part. And so if we do want to hang out, we can. But most people are what we call slam clickers. They slam their hotel door and click the lock. You never see them again.
I'm really enjoying the terms. What other good terms are there?
Are you a slam clicker?
I'm not usually. Sometimes, if I don't really want to hang out with them, like, nah.
So you arrive. So if you arrive in like, let's say Honolulu, let's go with the Hawaii theme. I like that because I've never been. You arrive in Honolulu, and how long do you have in Honolulu before you have to fly back?
Usually like 27, 28 hours. So we'll have right. Yeah, so it's pretty good, actually. It's not.
So you can go and actually have a few sherbets.
Yeah.
That, right?
Yeah. You can go have fun. I get like sunburned and I have a good time. Get some Mai Tais. It's glorious.
As long as you have that 12-hour, what was the shooting?
Bottle to throttle.
Yeah, bottle to throttle. How could I forget that? That's so Top Gun.
Federal's 8, so that's the outlier, but 12 is respectable.
Yeah. 12, yeah.
So, but you're in Honolulu, you're having a good time. Are you having to do it on your own mainly?
Yeah, usually I'm alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll do like all kinds of things by myself. I'll go do like touristy stuff, sign up for, going out on a sailboat or going snorkeling or whatever. You just kind of get used to it. And then it's kind of nice actually learning to be independent and figuring out you don't have to have somebody else around to enjoy life. You can still do.
Do you get itchy feet when you're not flying? Do you think, I don't know where you live. I'm not saying that you've got athlete's foot or something, but do you?
Is that a British saying?
I was like,
athlete's foot? Yeah, you get
itchy feet.
Yeah, itchy feet means that you want to get, like, if you're in a place for too long, like a lot of performers get it, and I'm wondering if pilots get, where you go, I've not been anywhere for a few days.
Yes. I absolutely get that. I think that's interesting that you have that too. Yeah, definitely. If I'm in one spot for too long, I get crazy. I get
antsy is what we would call it.
What do you call it? Antsy.
Antsy.
You see, you just like you Americans, you just put it.
But the itchy feet, I feel like you say that to a woman and it's like, what? Don't make it seem like my feet are like smelly and gross.
We can follow that metaphor if you want. I just want to know whether you feel like you want to get on the move again.
How long is it for you? Are you like, oh my God, I've been on the ground 3 days, I got to get going? Or is it like a month or a couple weeks?
I would say like a couple weeks. If it's over a couple weeks, I'm like, I need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what else we call that? Getting bit by the travel bug.
Oh
yeah.
Bit by the bug.
And what do you do for vacation? Do you go, should I just stay at home? Or do you go, that'd be different, wouldn't it?
That was a good question. No. Last year I went to South Africa for 3 weeks.
Nice.
Did half of that alone, which is this is a perk of being a pilot, is you learn to enjoy things alone. So I did like a week and a half by myself in a very foreign country, which is great. But I'll go to Fiji. I try to go to, interesting faraway countries
and you save on airfares because you just go, fly anywhere if you want.
It's free. Yeah.
Do you guys is there like an inside, for lack of a better word, like travel blog among people in the industry of here's the place you have to go, or definitely stay here, or avoid this touristy thing?
Yeah. We have some websites and Facebook groups where people chit chat about these things, but I don't know. I probably don't read them as much as I should. I'm sure people have great information.
Are you a good passenger, or are you sitting on that plane going, I wouldn't have done it like that?
No, I'm a good passenger.
It's funny we both asked that. Clearly, Dave and I must both be backseat drivers.
Yeah, you go knock on the door. I'll be knocking on the door going, can I just give me the wheel? Let me have it. Seriously. I don't,
Is that how you feel when you watch stand-up? I definitely would like to rewrite people's acts sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, such a good joke area. If only you told a punchline. No.
Yeah. No, I'm just looking at the audience going, oh dear, are they going to hate me as much as they hate them?
Oh yeah. So wait, are little girls ever as excited to see a female pilot as you were when you were that age?
It happens sometimes. Yeah. Actually, I had one of my favorite ones. This little girl came out of the bathroom stall and she saw me as soon as she came out, and she total, I don't even know, star-eyed at me. Are you a pilot?
I love that.
She was so excited. It was such a beautiful moment because, we get all kinds of comments, and getting cute comments from kids being excited is just.
And I've got to ask this. When they're doing the safety thing and you're a passenger, what do you do?
Pretend to pay attention, usually.
What do you do?
Pretend to pay attention.
Yeah. Oh, you pretend. Oh, but you do. You pretend to pay attention.
I need to set a good example of
do they
pay attention?
On your way up to becoming a pilot, do they make you do any of that kind of stuff so that you know all the different jobs, or everybody just knows their own department and that's
it? Everybody does their own stuff. We do know how to open doors.
Have you ever had to open a door or do one of those cushion landing things?
Just in training. But no, not in reality. No, doors scare us. If you open a door and it's not ready to be opened, it'll deploy the big floaty slide. Oh. And that costs a lot of dollars.
What's the thing that scares you the most about flying?
Ooh, that's a great question. Mm-hmm. I would say the thing that I'm most cautious about is weather, because the scariest experiences I've ever had have had to do with weather. Definitely. Yeah.
Like lack of visibility or bumpiness or lightning
like
or
thunderstorms. Yeah. Thunderstorms. I stay far away from those. They're not fun.
are you the one that can say, no, I don't think it's safe enough for us to fly?
Yeah, definitely. So like you can usually get around thunderstorms typically, but if there's like a big line and there's no way to get through it or around it, then they'll have to cancel all of it. So yeah, it's kind of rough. We don't like when that happens. Neither do passengers.
No. We're probably not very understanding as passengers, are we?
My favorite, I actually enjoy when people come up and they want like a bigger explanation, and I can actually show them on the map, like, this is the weather. And like, you don't want to go through this. I don't want to go through this. So like, you should be happy we're on the ground. You're safe. Everything's good.
That's
like,
good. They probably wanted to hear one of the best pilot announcements. I can't remember if I was telling you the story, Dave, if I said it here. I flew like recently and the pilot came on and was like, for any of you nervous flyers out there, this is going to be the safest flight you've ever been on because my wife is back there too. Which like at first I was like, oh, that's so nice. And then I was like, well, why aren't you always flying super safe? Like your wife is back here. Like, I don't know. Now you just gave me time to think about it. Yeah. But my wife doesn't like it when I do that. So I'm going to take it easy today.
There's a thunderstorm. Let's go straight to it. Oh, brilliant.
Right. Like, do you have like a standard thing you say when you do your announcement? Is there stuff you leave out?
Honestly, nothing fun. So I think we should probably collaborate on that.
Yeah.
Better thing.
Yeah, I like a funny pilot's always good, isn't it?
Right.
It's nice to have a pilot with gags, I think.
It is, yeah. And flight attendants that actually like sing and do things. And I enjoy that.
Yeah. Just flight attendants who do things anything like give you a cup of water. That would be that's the kind I like.
Me too.
Oh wait, that makes me think of a question. Were you flying pre 9/11?
No.
I was going to ask if it like changed on the pilot's end also.
Yeah, it changed a lot. Like they used to have the door open and people could just like come in and out of the cockpit. And now it's such a pain. I mean, we were like locked in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's funny because America's the only place where I ever saw a pilot. Because like in most places when you fly around, certainly in Europe, they are locked in. They're always locked in. It was only when I came to America for the first time I went, wow, you can see right in there.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
When we were dumb and trusting. They also killed joining the Mile High Club. Terrorism ruined everything.
I know. Yes, it did.
Did it really?
Probably still pull it off.
Well, I mean, it's harder to like sneak in there now.
Yeah.
I think if you like, we're going to hook up with a flight attendant.
That would be the best bet.
Yeah, they'd know what to do. They'd know what to do, wouldn't they? They'd know the secrets. Yeah. That's a top tip. Thank you for that one. I think our listeners will appreciate that. If you're going to join the Mile High Club, find a hot attendant and they'll know what to do.
Yep, send them a little note.
Yeah.
They'll know the little workaround.
Every interview we learn something, and I think that's probably going to be the thing we learn the most today. So,
I mean, are flight attendants as promiscuous as one might say they can be? In your experience?
On the street is yes.
That's another top tip.
Not everyone, but I think there's definitely some getting around happening.
Yeah. Some stereotypes are true and some stereotypes are like, oh my God, that's so like 30 years ago. I don't know why they still say that. I'm just, I'm a single person. I just like to know what's the what.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Casey goes off all the apps and goes flying instead.
If you date a flight attendant, you can also get flight benefits. So,
a flight attendant with benefits. Fantastic.
I mean, suddenly you're like, well, maybe Hannah and I want to explore a throuple, huh?
Dave's in.
Dave is too stable for that. So how do you feel the coaching thing like plays in to piloting, or what made you decide you wanted to do that too?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So I actually went and helped with like a special project for the company I work for. And I developed what's called a resilience program, which is really people that are struggling in training just with the mental game, getting them back in the game. So with meditation and breath work. And I realized there's this huge gap where a lot of pilots are scared of getting any kind of mental health help at all, like anything.
Because then they're not allowed to be pilots.
Yeah, like you have to report therapy appointments and things, which is just, but you don't have to report coaching. So I decided to go into coaching. I was already into personal development anyways.
Yeah.
And then going into the whole coaching arena and getting actually certified was important to me. And then I figure, it's opening a whole new bag of possibilities for pilots to know that they can access healthcare for their mental health.
For sure.
So, yeah.
That's so great that you're doing that and that you can share like all those healthy, like grounding routines. I mean, they have a lot of people's lives at stake. Yeah, totally. Those are the people you want to feel as calm and happy in life.
Yeah. And it's so stigmatized. It really is so stigmatized, like, breathing and meditation. It's like, no, it's actually like very helpful. So let's talk
I'm with you.
that.
Don't you think it would be great if Erika, part of her like, hi, I'm your pilot today. Let's do a quick meditation for all of you skittish flyers. I would fucking love that.
What do you think, Dave?
I'd go, is it a chance to get off and go on another plane? Just checking.
No.
I'm not in a rush. No, I'm all for it. I'm meditation. I know we should all do much more. Whenever I've done it, I've gone, oh yeah, I should be doing this every day. But then I forget.
It's like every book about any successful person. They're like, what do you find to help? Every single one of them meditates.
It's so true. It's so true. And really even just like one deep breath. I think that would be doable on my PA.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it. Just
that's
one
a good idea.
Can everyone take a deep breath? It might be the last one you take. Yeah.
We're gonna workshop it. I like the idea of this.
I think so. I think it's good. I think it's solid.
I think there's something in that.
Yeah.
Do you find that the other pilots are like happy that you've brought that into the mix? Are people like, oh my God, thank you. I never would have asked for that, but it's so amazing.
So it's kind of interesting. Most of the pilots don't know about it yet at my company, but all the new hires for the last like 2 years have had the training. So that's like 3,000 pilots, which is a lot.
Wow.
And, well done.
Thank you. Yeah. And a lot of them have actually said that it was helpful in getting through training. And I'm like, oh.
New Age Airlines. Here we go.
I'll tell you what, they give out crystals instead of peanuts. I'm in.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Rose quartz for you.
You know what? That airline would do well.
Yeah.
I agree. Nowadays, I think so.
Well, Virgin used to do aromatherapy and massages and stuff like that.
Oh, like in first class, right?
They didn't have it. Well, they called it Virgin Upper. There was a bar. I remember doing it from London to New York, and there was a bar, and they come around. Would you like aromatherapy or a massage or I can't remember what else they were.
Yeah,
I'll have a drink, please. Yeah.
Flying is not quite what it used to be as a passenger. I don't know if it's changed up in the cockpit, but
no, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, is it coming back? You got any good news? You got any spoiler alerts?
I think it's coming back. I think like COVID kind of changed a lot of things for how people behave in the world in not a good way. And I feel like it's kind of starting to come back where people are a little happier and friendlier and just kinder.
But
also,
like
not afraid of each other anymore.
I feel like a lot of airlines went through a period of like, hey, I know, let's put more seats in. Don't you feel like, I just feel like...
less space and everything costs something. It's $3 for that cup of seltzer, no refills.
Yeah. Oh, you brought a bag with you? You brought a bag with you and you're going away for a week? Wow, that's going to cost you, isn't it? Yeah.
Did you want to eat on this 7-hour flight? Yeah, that's going to cost you too.
Oh, you didn't bring anything to entertain yourself? Well, we'll give you something for $7. Yeah.
Didn't pack toilet paper. Well, you're going to have to stick your card in the slot. Oh my God. If it goes to pay toilets, we're really in trouble.
Well, now we know. Just talk to a flight attendant. I'll fix you up. Yeah.
Is there any other career that you would do if you hadn't become? No.
I thought about it. I have. And I even thought about like going into coaching full time. Like the course that I'm in, that's everybody's goal is to become a full-time coach. And honestly, I can't even imagine like not flying an airplane I can't even imagine it.
That's got to be a lot to give it. How long have you been flying?
I started in 2006. So it's been
18 years.
And how long do you expect to be flying?
Till I'm 65, unless they change. We have to retire at 65.
Oh, it's forced
really?
retirement.
And then what do you do? Do you then just like, will it then become a hobby and you go,
You
"Oh,
have your own little private plane or helicopter or something?
Probably would. Yeah, I'd probably get my own little plane and putt around. It's fun.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy it. I really, really do. Which is, I'm so blessed to actually enjoy my job.
It's so good. Yeah, your dream panned out and you love it. And it sounds like it's even better than when you thought it could be.
It truly is. Yeah. I really, every day I go to work, I'm like, this is good. Besides wearing man clothes.
I have to wear man clothes every day. Come
It's the
on.
worst.
Yeah.
But since it is a male dominated industry, do you feel like if you dressed more like the flight attendants or whatever, like that they maybe wouldn't give you the same respect?
Yeah. I think really it's the passengers would be like the bigger concern. Like the other pilot, they know that I'm trained and generally are respectful and it's good. And we work together well. But passengers can be so rude and they just, yeah.
Like condescending, like they can't believe a woman is a pilot?
Yeah. I actually had a comment the other day in an airport. This guy came up to me and he was like, "Are you a pilot?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I didn't know women were allowed to be pilots."
When you say, did you know it's 2024 and women can do anything?
Yeah. Where were you? Saudi Arabia? I mean, what? So you actually have to, I didn't realize,
Wow.
I've never spoken to a pilot before. So this is
I
very
thought you were going to say, I've never spoken to a woman like that before.
No, but
Please say that.
Yeah, no. Have I got through life? How do you? But now I know this about flight attendants. No, but how do you? So do you actually have to converse with the passengers then?
Sometimes, yeah. Like they encourage us to go out and say goodbye to everybody. We don't have time at the beginning, like with boarding.
I appreciate that. I'm actually pleased that you're doing your job then. I think that's good. Yeah.
And I think it's nice. It adds a little, something.
Yeah.
Plus, usually they don't know that female pilots exist. I get that very frequently.
Does anyone ever look at you like going, "Oh my word, you were flying"?
I mean, honestly, I can't remember ever being on a plane and having the pilot come on and be like, "Hi, this is blah blah blah," and have it be a woman. Maybe it's happened, but I feel like I would have remembered.
Yeah, there's very few of us. We're 5%. So
5%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Female directors in Hollywood. Yeah.
I'm
Do
sure.
you think it's expanding? Like, are the 3,000 new people that have come in, are more of them women than there used to be?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I think a lot of women get into it and then they realize what the lifestyle is and pull out of it and like, oh, this is way too much. So I think a lot of it.
If you're trying to have like a family or something, it would be hard to do that. Harder.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to have a family and be a female?
I do. Yeah. There's plenty of pilots that have families. Like there's plenty of pilot families where like both people in the couple are pilots and they have kids and they just make it work. And
and their kids just get to travel the world and learn about life that way.
Right.
Wow.
That sounds kind of amazing.
Yeah. That's when you get the babies in
have
first
nannies,
class.
but yes. Like you have to have a lot of help, but yeah, it is doable.
But they're living their dreams. I'm all about that.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I really do. Right now, I get to have plants, and I'm happy with that. I can keep plants alive, kind of.
So, where do you live? Do you live in on the West Coast?
I live in Colorado.
Colorado, right? And is that because you like Colorado, or is that because it's good for flying out of?
I do like Colorado, and I'm based here, so I fly out of Denver, and so it's really it's easy. It's just the ideal situation.
Do you have like 3 different bags packed at all times for like hot, cold, and whatever? I'm stealing that from whatever the flight attendant show was.
There you go. I love that. I have one bag that's always packed, and then I'll just switch out stuff. But yeah, I do have a go-to wardrobe.
Do you feel like that it's different than what you wear at home, or do you find that like the more routine you have, the less it throws you off to be away, or you like having it different?
No, I like having some routine. Yeah. I probably wear more comfortable clothes at home, strangely enough. And I feel like I'm in my uniform or at the gym when I'm at work. So there's like not much clothes changing happening.
Do they have a gym for pilots?
Yeah, we have gyms. We stay in hotels and they always have gyms.
Right.
I was thinking like at the airport when you're like, well, we've got a 17-hour layover. I guess I could work out and have a shower. And like, do you get free access to like the nice lounges and stuff?
No, I wish. That would be an awesome
really?
we would probably abuse that so much.
So what happens when you're at an airport then? You arrive for work. Where do you hang out?
We have like a pilot's lounge, so we'll go hang out in like pilot's lounge. Well,
right. So it's like backstage somewhere, right?
Yeah. And they know not to give us free snacks or anything because we will bring Tupperware and like.
Oh, you're just like actors.
We're so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Oh my God. So wait, so are there pilots that are like on the mic too much then that are enjoying the spotlight part of it? I'm wondering how similar to performers are you really?
Sometimes, yes, definitely. And they will just chat. They give every passenger the full debrief. I'm like, oh my God.
All right. And like every 10 minutes, they're like, now we're at this elevation. Okay, I turned the seatbelt sign off, but I might turn it back on. Oh, we just turned left. There are some that do that. And I'm like, I'm trying to watch a movie, man.
Exactly. Stop interrupting.
Just do your thing.
Yesterday, we actually flew over Baltimore and we saw the bridge collapse. And I thought about being like, look out the left side. You can see the bridge. And then I thought, Matt, that might be morbid. Like, I don't know. So usually
I would have looked out though. Mind you, I'd have probably been sitting on the right side going, oh, that's not fair.
Wow.
Oh.
Have you ever had to do like an emergency landing or anything?
Not really. No. I've had like a couple, where some system has gone wrong, but in an airplane, like especially the big airplanes, there's so much redundancy of systems. So pretty much everything is backed up. So you're never really in like bad situation unless it's something super weird, like, a door flying off or like,
that happens, doesn't it? Yeah, quite a lot recently.
But for the most part, there's a lot of redundancy.
And I fly with that airline. I've got a lot of miles with them. I just wish they had more doors.
You got to bring your own next time.
Bring your own door, just in case.
Do you find
I got there early? Yeah.
like different places you go, like you find different inspiration that you take back with you?
I like that question a lot. Yeah. Lately I've just been flying a lot in the US, like domestic stuff. But when I was flying international, I brought back so much stuff. I mean, you learn that the world is both very small in that you can get places like pretty easily. And we're all the same. Like humans are the same everywhere you go. Yep. We all want the same things out of life. We all want love and success and acceptance. And it's such a beautiful thing to realize no matter where you go in the world, we are always the same. And it just makes you feel cozy. It really does.
Agreed. I love that. That's going to be my takeaway from.
Do you have like when you're in the air and you're talking to the tower or something? Do you all know each other? Do you sometimes like going, hello, Frank, how are you? Yeah.
I wish. I honestly really wish. In my mind, I think that all the controllers are super attractive.
Yeah.
Wow. They've got to all be good looking. I'm sure they're not, but
well,
why not have the fantasy? That's
if you like comb overs, I'm sure, and big bellies. That's
when you go see a movie like Top Gun, are you like, man, that's not how that thing would fly? Have you ever flown a plane like that, or are you like, yeah, Tom, do it?
Yeah. No, I've never flown a fighter, but the whole time I'm like, loving it, fangirling so hard. I just love airplanes.
I have seen some of the stuff you've posted on Instagram, and I'm like, you are by far the most badass person I know.
I'm going to follow you on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
It is eflyingfree.
What a great right! And I want to know
it's very inspiring.
What's your favorite airport in the world?
Ooh, first thing was Hong Kong. It's the first thing that came up.
How come?
Really?
Hong Kong is so gorgeous. It's just this unbelievable city that's built into all these beautiful green hills. And the buildings are these huge white towers. And it's just, and it's on the ocean. So everything is just magical. It's so beautiful. And Yeah, just the most gorgeous approach.
I've never been. Is there something that you wish travelers paid more attention to while they were traveling?
Yeah, like basic common sense in the airport of like, would you just keep walking down the hallway?
Some spatial awareness.
Spatial awareness would be amazing.
Yeah.
Just like be aware of where you are. You're on like a highway essentially when you're walking through an airport. You must pull off. You must merge. You must like.
I agree.
Don't just stop walking.
Agreed. Yeah. Don't get off the moving sidewalk and stop at the very end of it so that then there's like a pile up of everybody.
Yeah. Or it's a family that just stop. They just stop and they put all their bags down and that's it. That's it. Because they're together and they've got a phalanx across there and you go, that's it. We're not going anywhere. All right. We better move to questions because we're running long because we're too excited today.
I'm starting with my fave. What is your like favorite snack? Is there a food you bring with you when you travel or that you're like psyched to have when you come back home or?
Oh my gosh. I love it. I've kind of gotten on these outright bars. They're like peanut butter based. They're so good. And they have lots of protein, so it's kind of my go-to.
Something else I can't do. Peanuts, and I'm colorblind. We could never share a cockpit together. It's never going to happen. What would you do if you won the lottery?
Oh my gosh. I would buy a catamaran and stop working for at least a couple years.
So you'd stop flying? Would you stop?
I would take a break. I would definitely
travel by ocean instead.
Yes, I would love that. I would love it.
Oh, but you wouldn't buy yourself you wouldn't be like John Travolta and have a little jet in your backyard.
Oh, I would totally do that too.
Oh, you would do that?
Yeah, I'd probably do that too.
So you'd have a boat big enough that you can have like a helicopter on it so that you can have your option. Dave and I dream big, so there's no need to limit your fantasy of your lottery winnings.
It's a lottery, because if I win the lottery now, I'm going to add this to my fantasy and I'm going to have a jet and you can be my pilot. And then you see, it works. Right.
It's going to be a peanut-free airplane, though, so I don't know if you want to do that.
And if I go into the cockpit, I don't want to see those buttons because my colorblindness will just drive me nuts, right? I won't know where I am.
Everything red.
Yeah.
But he'll do all the announcements for you because he'll love to be on the mic.
Yeah.
That would be a fun credit for us to add to our resumes is doing a pilot's announcement.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, if you do that with me, I will let you do it.
We're going to do it.
We record one for you and you just play it once. And then, awesome. And then you can play it back to us and we can hear all the screaming from the passengers.
We're like, here's two people you're very glad are not piloting.
Trust us, you're in better hands with Erika than you are with us. We're crashless.
Right, I'll be like, one is colorblind and the other is afraid of heights.
Oh no, she fed me a peanut.
You don't want in a pilot. If we really knew you, what would we know about you?
Ooh, oh my gosh. I love that. Probably that I actually struggle with self-worth issues. And it's like a constant battle. Even though I have this cool job and like look like I have big confidence, there is still like, the little hurt girl inside. Yeah.
I feel you, girl. That is, you fit right in with the comedians, like Dave said, behind the scenes. We're like, I don't know. And then on stage, we're like, yo, I'm the most confident person you ever gonna meet. And then afterward, it's like, was that okay? Did it go okay? I don't know. It could have gone better. I could have done this thing better. But thank you for such an honest answer.
I think what we should do is a job swap for a weekend. Get a bunch of pilots to do the Comedy Store and get a bunch of comedians to be pilots.
Maybe we just go through training. I don't really feel like we want to risk people's life. If they die on stage, that's one thing. We can't really ask people to trust.
Well, dying is dying. If you die at the Comedy Store, I think that's probably worse than taking a plane down. Come on. All right, my question to you.
That's right, because you go down on the plane, that's final. You don't have to sit and think about it.
At least you don't have to go and face the public again, do you? What a nightmare. So, Erika, what is your favorite animal and why?
Oh my gosh. I love otters.
I love otters. Why
they're so cute.
Yeah.
They're so funny and they're so like sparky too. Like they want to bite you and they'll hiss at you, but they're so cute.
Have you ever seen them in the wild?
Yeah, they're adorable.
Where have you seen them in the wild?
in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have them in England in the wild.
Adorable.
Yeah.
I've only seen them on Instagram holding hands in the water so they don't drift apart.
If an animal doesn't go to West Hollywood, Casey hasn't seen it.
Not true. I went on an African safari and I saw all the animals and I could have stayed there even longer.
On television. Right.
In person.
It's your question,
Erika,
Casey.
this has been so amazing. We could keep talking to you all day, but I know we're taking up your precious time. Thank you for squeezing us in and for inspiring little girls and for schlepping people around the world.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. This was so much fun. I love actually realizing how similar our career fields are.
It's funny, right? Like you said, everybody is kind of the same. We just don't talk about stuff enough to know it.
I often feel when I'm on stage at the Comedy Store, their life is in my hands. This next joke really is.
If you push the right button, it's smooth sailing ahead. And if not, down you go.
Let's avoid this storm and get through this together, guys. I'll lead us there. Erika, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Quick shout out to Mike Nicholas for being our tech savior and Carmen Sclafani, also known as Wiser Time. Thanks for our music. And thank you all for listening.